right?
Stop slapping my titties.
And plus, when you're standing, it's gonna make your foot move around.
All right, YouTube. So, how's everybody doing today? I've got another review coming at you. This one I've actually been wanting to do for quite a while, and I decided to wait until this guy came out. So, Josh, I'm sure you've seen him in many of my other videos. Usually is on the red Aeons. Has just recently purchased the new Faction Tactical V1 Shredpool Pro Boot. Let me just tell you, this thing's amazing looking. You know, I'd love to get some good shots to show you guys, but some of the details I'm not so sure are going to really come out on the camera. There is this beautiful red metallic threading in the carbon fiber. It's unbelievably gorgeous. I'm going to do my best to get a shot of that for you. But other than that, I'm sure anybody who is interested in factions is familiar with these. The setup on these is a little bit, just a hair different than the original Tactical V1s, which is what I've been riding for a while, and I'm thoroughly impressed with. Upgraded on this, I would say, is the lacing. There's a quick lacing system on the liner itself. And I believe, I'm not certain of this, but I believe that the actual lining of the liner seems to be upgraded from the original Tactical V1, but I'm not certain because I don't ride the stock liner in mine. Although, I don't know, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, who knows. If I'm wrong, I'll probably just edit this part out and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Other than that, it's a standard Tactical V1. Solid skate. I will go over in a more in-depth review on that shortly. But what I want to get is I want to get first impressions on this video too. So Josh is going to help me out in getting his first impressions of the Shredpool Pro Boot. And that, oh wow, it's even visible from the bottom. And that's it. So stay tuned.
Yeah, how cool is that Shredpool on the front?
Yeah, that's so dope.
I didn't even notice it because obviously it's all up here, and I pulled it down. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
All right, Josh. So what are we doing? We're trying on the skates before heat molding them.
Before heat molding, just to kind of see. I'm curious because this is going to be a smaller boot than what I've normally been riding. This will probably be the very first skate I've ever had in my career of skating that will actually be fit to my foot. So going off of the Mondo length and everything. So I tried a pair on at Clark's. It fit, it worked. My foot was right where it needed to be. So I just curious what it's going to feel like before the heat molding. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to have to heat mold it anyway, but at least just kind of get a sense of what it's going to feel like before and after to, you know, really feel the effects. But so I'm just going to take everything apart.
Awesome. And so what size is that?
So this is the 9.5. So it's a what, 9.5, 10 boot, 9.5 liner.
Okay. And what's your foot size in centimeters or millimeters?
If I remember correctly, it was 275 Mondo.
275. Okay. So this is definitely on the edge of that.
It's right on the edge, and I tried a 10, and the 10 probably would have worked, but it would have been probably just a tad bit large. So based off of Clark's recommendation, I'm gonna do the.
You tried on Adams.
Adams, yeah.
And he had the 9.5, and he had heat molded and broken them in, and they fit you just like a glove, right?
Yeah, it was perfect. Toe was right where it needed to be. It wasn't cramped. I could, you know, kind of twitch my toe and feel the edge, the end of the toe box. rolled around on it for a little bit. And
Did a true topsole in it?
Felt money. He had made me take them off.
So how's it feel right out of the back? Not laced up, just kind of. Is your foot crammed at all?
It's not crammed, but I do have pressure here on the left and the right, but not because of it feels like it's definitely the padding. It's not the boot itself. Awesome. So once it's heat molded, it should loosen up.
Awesome. So we just pulled the liner out, and there's these little drawings, little artistic prints. That is an amazing touch. If you remember the Tactical V1 had the faction written on the side of it. This is next level right here. That is too cool. All right, heat molding them, 180 degrees. We're gonna stagger it so they can be as hot as possible.
Firstborn, they know how to really just push buttons.
Oh gosh, it's hot. Yeah, baby.
Is it? What's happening?
Oh Jesus. I got a toe cramp. It's right in the middle toe, so I can't really move it. Oh my god. Why? Stop. Okay, that's better.
That's a comfy couch.
Thank you.
Where'd you get it at?
That was COVID money right there. I think my left foot is
Alright, so what do you think?
right. I mean, even just sliding my foot in, the material has already loosened up. So I mean,
You
right
can
now,
actually get one more lace hole.
Like even if I had to give it a good session or two
I probably
to
will
stretch
just
it
get
up
the
even a
laces
little bit more, like
underneath
this is tolerable. It feels really good though.
How's it look down?
So because it's actually sized to my foot and the skate is actually smaller than anything I've ever skated, it's weird because when I look down I don't see much until I like kind of flex out a little bit. So it's gonna be weird getting used to a skate that's a little
Alright, so what do you think? So for anybody who doesn't know Josh, this is Josh. Hi Josh.
Hello.
I've been skating with Josh for 25 years probably.
Jeez.
And you've ridden mostly rims. Over that period of time, you rode rims probably the longest of any skate.
Yeah, I've ridden Solomons, K2s, Rossies, but Rems I spent the most time on, probably a decade on Rems.
In the past years since you've quote unquote gotten back into skating, you've been on rims, Fifth Elements, and then the Aeons.
Correct.
Okay. So you mentioned that these felt like rims.
The liner reminds me of the cush of a rem, which is something I really liked. Even though you had a lot of movement in the rem in the cuff, it was a very plush feeling skate, especially before they turned to the hard boot. When they were just doing all the soft boots, it was just really thick and squishy. And these ones definitely have that similarity. They're not like an Intuition where it's thin and rigid. This just feels a little bit more like a Cadillac. You're gonna have that really soft ride, and versus like a Porsche or something like that.
And that's something that you just grew to love about.
It's just a comfort thing. I mean, being comfortable in your skates, it just translates to everything else. So like if it was too stiff, I just wouldn't feel connected to the skate. But when it's nice and soft and plushy for whatever reason, getting into grinds and stuff just easier.
Okay. And what about this skate in particular kind of, because you've been riding Aeons for 2 years, maybe?
Yeah, 2 years. I got the red Sam Crofts. when they
But
came
they weren't
out.
your first Aeon.
I had the Aeon Basic, I think for about a year.
So 3 years you've been on
About
Aeons.
3 years on Aeons, yeah.
And what about these kind of...
I think getting back into the UFS like style of skating and being able to interchange stuff, and my Aeons are starting to get pretty slow, and having to put Clark amount of wax on everything, you can't do it all the time, and it makes you look like a douche because you're making it even faster for the guys that are already going fast. So when I tried these and just the way they slid, just everything felt good.
So for me personally, and then with other, I guess with other people, you hear about the qualms of the skate. So why aren't people buying it? What prevented you from jumping on it right away versus waiting till I made you try mine?
I'm not gonna lie, the sole plate, when these came out, just the sole plate itself, I think just because it's different and it's super wide, and some of the reviews were not necessarily the best. Now, some of those people didn't actually skate it, but just because of the aesthetic of it, I think might have turned people off, or still turns people off. But A, you don't notice it when you're skating it. B, if it's gonna become the cheater code, the cheat skate or whatever, who cares? I'm getting older. I'm almost 40 years old. Like, I need as much cheat as I can get. So,
So I mirror those thoughts exactly. I mean, that's when I first saw the skate, the sole plate. I remember we went over to the compound. It was like one of the first times we ever went there. Clark was testing the sole plate that he had just like 3D printed or whatever. And I remember seeing it going, that's gross. And it was one of my biggest qualms with the skate when I first started looking at it. But yeah, once you're on it and once you're in the shell, like you don't, I mean, if I put my camera down and look at your feet, like I don't even see the wing of the quote unquote wing of the sole plate, like at all. So like it doesn't show up the way you may think it does it?
Mm-mm. No, I mean, from a look down standpoint, I mean, you're at the front of the skate, so like you're not, unless you're like looking back, checking out the back of your skate, which hardly anyone ever does, like you're not going to notice it. So.
And when you first tried to skate, what did you think about the sole plate? Like, you only skated them for maybe like 10 minutes at the most?
It wasn't a lot, but honestly, I was more impressed with the fact that I fit. So normally so in the Aeons, I was a 10 and a half boot. And all the other skates, I'd always get like an 11 or a 10 and a half. So the fact that I could put a skate on that's rated as a 9 and a half, so it actually fit my foot, and the few tricks I did with such ease was because there was less skate to move around. And it has nothing to do with weight or anything like that. It's just the length of the skate and being familiar with how to move a bigger object and then going to a smaller object and it actually tweaking where my foot was tweaking, just it made sense.
The other stuff.
Oh, the bearings.
Yeah. So with the Shredpool Tactical V1, obviously it comes with the wish frames. It has this really cool cheat code drawing. You know, we're all familiar with Shredpool and his drawings. It comes with these solid black, like murdered out faction bearings. Oh man, it's not focusing. There it goes. Look at that. That is sick. So ABEC 9 faction bearings. And Clark was nice enough to let Josh come pick these up before
Thanks, Clark.
they're actually released. He's still waiting on the wheels in a moment, and Josh just literally stole these off his front porch. But, you know, one thing, this is a wonderful opportunity that we can discuss not only a first impression of a skate, but also a longer period review, I suppose. I've been skating the Tactical V1 for 2 months, 3 months. I don't know, it's been a little while. And I've definitely modified mine a bit from stock. Let's see, so I went with the Create Original frame. I switched to Create Original frame when I was riding my Gods and fell in love with this frame. If anybody who watches my channel, I know for a fact you're probably watching iRoller Boot, and he goes on and on about the combination of this skate with this frame, and it really is perfect. It's absolutely just, everything lines up, everything feels great. It's just a super fun setup to skate, and that's really all I'm looking for nowadays. I went and upgraded with the Intuition Premium Liner. Now, I've had the Premium Liner in pretty much all of my skates, and initially when I bought the skate, I was like, oh, I'm just going to put my Intuitions in there and everything like that. And then when I bought the skate, it actually became a dilemma where I couldn't decide if I wanted to ride the stock liner or the Intuition liner, and I think that just gives credit to the stock liner of how good it is and how comfortable it is. And ultimately, the only reason that I changed is because the Intuition liner is a bit taller and because of the stiffer tongue. For me being as big as I am, this just adds that extra bit of support, which I'm looking for. And I talk about support pretty much regularly when it comes to having a skate for a bigger person. The other upgrade I did was I actually upgraded to the laces. Copying iRoller Boot again. Again, these are solid laces, so take it for what it's worth. It is really good. But in addition to that, I also upgraded the 45-degree strap. It's pretty much that pure aesthetic thing. I don't like the skinny strap. I like it nice and thick. That's what she said. And
No, I didn't.
ouch. But anyway, yeah, no, I just wanted a nice thicker strap. I feel like it, to me personally, looks better. If it functions better, I don't know, but I like the look of it. Other than that, what I love about these skates more than anything else, obviously, is the fit. The fit is perfect. My toe is just right there. Every now and again I can feel it touch, but it never rams. It never hits hard. I haven't experienced any of that that old K2 toe, which if you're old school and you rode K2s, I'm sure you're familiar with. Sole plates slide phenomenally. This skate, right off the bat, when I first took them out to skate, I did probably not the best, but maybe one of the best feeling back royales I've ever done in my skating career. And when I told Clark about that, he really wasn't surprised at all. He has no modesty. But he explained to me that when he designed this skate, he actually moved the UFS points 4 millimeters forward. And that's not a lot. It's really about 1/4 of an inch. But that 4 millimeter centers your lock point just a hair forward and allows you to bend that cuff a little bit more into it, which allows you to squat and really put more weight on your heels, which is surprisingly noticeable. So, that little movement made a huge difference, at least to me. And maybe it's real, maybe it's not, but I love the feeling of these skates when doing a back royale, and it was always one of my favorite tricks that I was kind of afraid to do a lot. But in here I have full confidence. And yeah, I can't praise these skates enough. They're the best. I was excited to do a review for them, and I hate to say it, but this is probably like the last review of a skate I'm ever going to do until another faction boot comes out, and I want to get that one and review that one. But yeah, do you have anything to say about? Obviously you haven't ridden them yet, but now that they're heat molded, now that they're coming together.
Well, I took your recommendation, and I am putting Create frames on here, and that's what when I tried them out for the 5-10 minutes that I had them, there were Create frames on there also, and just locking and the depth of the Create H block, it just seemed like it just made it effortless. And once again, it goes back to the whole cheat code skate, but it's on the market. Why don't you use it? Who cares?
So what? You've never tried the Wish frames, And I know from speaking with you, you don't plan on trying the wish frames really.
From a profile and a height standpoint is probably why I will stay away from them. The Aeons, being on Aeons for 2 to 3 years, you're so low to the ground. I feel like it would be such a dramatic change going up that high. And as much as I like going fast, having those big wheels, I mean, you can ride flat on these creates and, you know, get as much speed. And we've been doing more park skating than anything, you know, like ledges and stuff like that. So I don't need all that additional speed. And if I do, I'll just bump up to 60s on the outside and ride anti-rockers. So, yeah, I mean, maybe someday I'll try the wish, but there's just no reason for it at this point for me.
Cool. All right, well, we are done heat molding at this point. We're going to get them set up, and we're heading out to Baltimore for a Charm City Takeover number 5 or something like that. So this is going to be pretty sweet, and we'll let you know how they feel as we go.
Ready? Yes. Good. Good. How are you? Good. Good already. The wheels are slippery.
No, I didn't.
It's super fast.
on review. And you've been riding the Factions for, those are what, first pair sold?
I actually am the first one who sold because we tested the buying process online with me. So yeah, I've had the first pair.
And you switched over from Solomon's. Like,
right.
what about these are attractive to them?
Because I have a wide foot and a long foot. I can't skate most any skates at all. It's just like the Solomon's fit my foot, and these are the first skates since then that have been able to fit my foot. So having like a 300 millimeter foot, it's just difficult to find anything that fits. So right, but
so to anybody, like, there's people out there that are looking like they're reluctant to buy the Factions, A, because they're new, or B, because the sole plating, or whatever. Like, what would you say to them to choose to buy it? Because it's such a great skate.
It's not as wide as you think it is. Everybody's so worried about the back wing part on there, but it really isn't. If you look at the skate, it barely comes over the edge of the skate, so it's really not much wider than the skate it would be.
Yeah.
Barely over the top, especially from the top.
You don't even see it.
Yeah. So it's not as wide as everybody thinks it is. And the wing is just there for support. And if you don't like it, you can cut it off and make it look pretty. So it doesn't matter. It works great.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Josh. So we're about, an hour in at least?
Yep.
What do you think?
I gotta get used to the weight because they're a little bit heavier than my Aeons. Doing switch ups is different because everything locks in so solid, it's hard to get your foot off. Hence the mark on my face. No, I love them. They feel really good. I'm getting some foot cramps though, so probably another session or two to break in the liner. That's about it.
Now that could be also the different geometry of your foot, versus the Aeon heel pad versus the heel pad in here, and the carbon being a bit stiffer. You don't have that.
Yeah. Other than that, everything I go for, I lock it. Like, it just locks on everything. I love these frames. And the fact that I can just jump on anything and it slides like butter. Like, I almost have to go slow so I don't go too fast.
Nice.
You're asking questions, right?
Yeah. So babe, how long have you been riding the Factions?
I got the Factions. I was one of the first pre-orders.
Okay, so. Awesome. So that's like first run of them.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on them?
Right away, putting them before you even heat molded them, I loved them right away. These are amazing. I knew I was gonna like them. And I've never had a skate that can heat mold. So if I heat molded them, put my foot in there after that. Oh, it's like heaven.
What size are they?
I think these are 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah.
And what size is your foot?
That's why I usually ride 8.5. Okay. I was kind of nervous about it. I asked like 100 questions before I got them.
Yeah.
It said 8.5 is the way to go. Once you get the heat mold, it's gonna work out perfect.
Okay. So a lot of people, and myself included, before I got mine, I just kind of got mine about a month ago. And a lot of people have kind of hang-ups on it. Like, they're a little worried. It's an expensive skate. They're different. Especially when it comes to like the fin on the back, people are worried about that. What is your opinion on it? How do you feel about that in regards to
the price point? These are the most expensive pair of skates I ever bought. The main reason I got it was because it's a local hometown guy, But then I got him. I was like, I never got expensive skates before, so I did it. Fell in love with them. This never bothered me. I thought it looked pretty cool. I like top sides. I like negatives. I'm a big negative guy. It all works out great for me.
So worth every penny?
I think it's worth every penny. I know it was a big pill to swallow when I first did it, but I'm gonna be on release like 4 years, I think.
Yeah. Awesome, dude.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. All right. So, first, looking at your skates, look at your factions, I'm noticing the cuff sticker. What cuff are you using on there?
It's God's Frankie Morales 3 cuff.
Okay,
So
awesome.
it's basically a carbon cuff.
Okay, so how does that compare? And did you try the stock cuff out? Or what was your?
I skated the stock cuff probably like 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
And it got a little softer for me. And this just was a stiffer cuff.
Okay, and it works. It fits. It looks like it fits up real nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
awesome.
It's a little stiffer.
So what do you think about it? I mean, how long have you been on now? About.
Oh, I got them in like July or August.
Okay.
I actually never skated a soft boot before.
Okay.
So for my first time with a soft boot, it actually works out like super good. They're super comfortable.
Nice.
You slide fast. I used to skate Aeons. They're kind of sticky sometimes, and I didn't like going alley tricks on down rails getting stuck. So I was like, let me try these factions out. I'm living in Maryland now, so I wanted to support local, and this is the best choice I made. They're an amazing skate.
Awesome. So a lot of people kind of have hang-ups with buying them, like they're a little cautious of them, i.e. the price of them, or like the sole plate. Everybody's worried about the sole plate and how wide it is and the fins and stuff like that. You know, what are your opinions on the sole plate? Like, does it bother you at all, that fin, or do you even notice it?
Don't even notice it. No, I don't notice it. Like, I don't do like tea kettles as much as Jimmy does, but that extra space, it adds that extra confidence for sure. And like, nah, I didn't even think twice about it. Yeah, it works out great.
Awesome. Do you have anything you want to say about them, like just in general?
For the price point, it's pretty average for a carbon mold skate. So I think it's competitive on the market, and they're really durable. Like, they get dirty and they still clean up nice, which is great. So I can't complain. Yeah, those are really good.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
What's your final opinion on the factions, Mitch?
I like them. I don't think I'm personally sold just yet, but I do dig them a lot. I mean, I landed that kind grind, so that makes me happy. Couldn't land them in my own skates. I love this place.
I fucking hate this place.
I love it here.
I absolutely hate this park.
To this walking in. That's why the guy was like, watch me walking in.
Got this. I got it. It was an X. Because that's what I wanted to do. Alright, let's go. I'm fucking taking it.
Coming up to the merge, and I always get tripped up in that one spot because I'm trying to merge. That's better?
Hi. Hi. Oh. Oh, you good girl. Oh, you good girl.
Oh, God, are you okay? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh no! No! Well, what does Mitch always say?
Even Jordan has bad days.
Well, that's not what he always says. But that's fun stuff. So,
Still smells new. 2 sessions and it still smells good.
so what do you think so far? Give me your initial impressions.
First session was a little rough just because everything locks differently, so doing switch ups and things like that, just this sole plate just wants to hold you in your grind, so it's hard to get it out unless you know how to lift your foot up. So I had some trouble the other day, but today I didn't do any switch ups. Everything slides like butter. Like, you don't need to put in any wax or hardly any wax on anything, as according to how the Aeons work. The boot has definitely packed out really well after doing the heat molding, and it's even though it's nice and plush when you first put it on, it's actually starting to stiffen up, but still have that kind of substantial feeling, which I like, versus like an Intuition that just feels like it's just super thin. It definitely reminds me of the Rems back in the day, so I think that's what I like the most about it, is it reminds me of having a Rem on my foot. Even the look down, it looks a little fatter on the skate, but the Rems were kind of fat too, so I think just overall, the aesthetic and the fit are now really nice, and I'm curious to see how it feels as I continue to skate it, and that liner heats up a little bit more.
How do you feel about the flex of the cuff? A lot of people have complained that it's too flexy, or...
So I haven't learned it yet because I haven't really been doing too many top sides and everything. But I mean, I like the flex. It kind of reminds me of my Aeons. But coming from Rems, I mean, Rems is flex. So I don't like stiff skates. I feel like stiff skates you have to put way too much leg into it to get down on stuff versus your ankle. So this definitely has enough movement, I think, for me to be able to do all the tricks that I want to do. It's not stiff for me.
So how do you feel about the money you spent on them? Do you feel like they were worth the price that you paid?
I'm looking at these as a fairly long-term investment, and I am glad I did spend the money on these. It's got the fit and the feel that reminds me of back when I was skating Rems. The fact that I'm back on UFS and I can switch parts out, I was able to get another set of sole plates, black sole plates, so the fact that I can interchange that kind of stuff. And actually having the wide wings on the sole plate will actually help protect the skate a little bit more too when you're sliding down ramps and stuff like that. So yes, I am glad that I spent the money.
If this is your first carbon skate, how do you feel about the carbon fiber? Is it noticeable, like the control wise, or the just the overall control of the skate, power transfer, whatever?
I mean, this is my first carbon, so like I really don't have, because of my minimal amount of skating so many different skates, I don't think I have a good frame of reference to be able to compare a carbon skate versus a non-carbon skate. I mean, I think it feels great for me. So I mean, if you told me that, you know, carbon was a big difference from plastic, I honestly wouldn't have an idea of what that meant until I actually maybe put several different types on. So like if I tried an Icon or if I tried anything else that was carbon. But I mean, it just feels like a good overall skate for me.
What's your favorite part of the skate?
I love the back. Your kind of far moving back plate. I like how when you're doing full torques, it just kind of locks and just kind of stays there. And I don't know if that's because of the combination of the Create frames and the backside plate, or if it's just the backside plate. And I mean, obviously every skate has a pretty decent backside plate, but for whatever reason, this setup just makes everything lock. And when you're focusing on leaning backwards and staying on top of it versus anything else, and you don't have to worry about anything else other than leaning back to stay on top, I mean, not many people are thinking about that while they're doing a grind. So the fact that I'm there already in these skates and it just locks in and you don't have to go anywhere, I mean, that's all I need.
What's your least favorite part of the skate?
It's honestly weird for me having a skate that's fitted to my foot as far as length. So I am getting used to the fact that when I look down, I'm not expecting, you know, the skate's not sticking out here, a size 11. So the fact that it is more fit to my foot, I think is going to be the thing that at the moment I'm not a fan of. it's weird looking down and jumping up on a trick because I'm just not used to the way it looks and not seeing as much of my skate as I normally do. But I mean, there isn't a piece on here that I'm necessarily not a fan of. Even the strap. I didn't have a strap on my Aeons. I haven't had a strap on really any of my skates. So I mean, even the strap isn't really getting on my nerves at all.
So if anybody was on the fence about buying these skates, what would you say to them?
Definitely. I mean, I don't know. Because this is my first back on UFS in a long time. I mean, I understand that the look is not necessarily appealing, but when you actually try it out and just how easy it is to lock sole grinds, like, why wouldn't you want a skate that helps you lock any type of sole plate trick? It's one of those skates you just gotta try it. Like if you got a friend that's got one, ask him to try it on. But the fact that Clark will help you out and make sure that you've got the right dimensions on your foot and you're really getting a skate that's fit for you, it's not this in between. He'll actually, make sure that you're getting a liner that's going to be yours. I think the fact that Clark kind of walked me through that made me appreciate his brand and appreciate going towards a skate where you can talk to the guy that's making them and he's like, okay, this is what I recommend, this is what you should do. And I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, you should do that, and I guarantee you're going to love it. And I love it, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you very much. And see ya.
Later.
And action.
Suck in the gut for the next couple minutes. All right.
All right. So, Chris, you've been riding the factions now several months.
Several months, my ass. It's only been like 3.
That's several, right? 3 is several. You've owned a lot of skates.
Yep.
And I've heard you make comments about this is probably one of your favorite skates. After several months, I mean, is this still one of your favorite skates?
Oh, hands down. Hands down, this is my favorite aggressive skate that I've ever ridden for aggressive skating. Do I think that this boot has potential to go to other parts of skating? Absolutely. But currently, in this form at the moment, I think that this is just a perfect setup for aggressive skating and pretty much solely aggressive skating.
Okay, so obviously you've gotten to know the skate. Out of all the skates you've had before, what is one thing you can pick out on your factions that you just absolutely love about the skate?
Honestly, for me, it's the fit. This skate fits my foot perfectly to a T. Obviously, I upgraded the liner, but even prior to the liner upgrade with the stock liner, it fit my foot perfectly to a T. And it was actually a tough decision switching to the Intuition liner because I liked the stock liner so much. My toe is literally at the very end of the skate. The width of the skate is perfectly fit to my foot, and I don't have a better fit on any skate. The closest skate I have to a perfect fit is my Wizard Seba setup with the Wizard liner. But that skate is not as good for aggressive as this one. That one's perfect for Wizard skating. So,
what's one thing that, if there was one thing, is something that you don't like about the skate?
I would like a more supportive cuff. It's a great cuff and it is very supportive, but I would like something a little bit more rigid, or maybe just something even a little bit taller. And when I say taller, I'm talking maybe like 4 to 8 centimeters, not 8 centimeters, 4 to 8 millimeters taller. So not much, but something more along the lines of the Seba cuff. I just love that cuff. I love the power transfer of the cuff. One thing I would say is that this shell, I mean, obviously you can't see because the liner's on there, but this shell stops right here. It goes in, it comes around the back right here, and stays right here. There's where most skates have that little bit of a wing that comes up into the back of the cuff. This doesn't have that. So you really have a lot of forward flex in this skate, and it's not bad. I've gotten used to it, but I think I would like a little bit more resistance in the forward flex, which is ultimately why I went with this liner, because it is a little bit more supportive and it has that stiff tongue to kind of reduce that.
Obviously, Faction's still pretty new. It gets mixed reviews. Some people don't like the way it looks. They just don't understand it. What would you tell somebody who maybe is thinking about it but needing a little push to get off the fence?
Get over yourself. Honestly, I mean, go around, go online, and find somebody who's actually trash talking the faction that has used them. Anybody who is not using the faction or is not currently skating the faction, the only thing they can say is that they didn't get the right size. Nobody can complain about anything. People that complain about the wing, it's only ever aesthetic. You never hear about it getting in the way. I think Law complained about it one time on his very first time ever skating the skate. He clipped it on a really tall ledge at Clark's, which is not surprising that would happen. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're on the fence and if it's an aesthetic thing and it's something that you just get over yourself. That's really all I can say.
Cool. Tactical V1.
Anything else?
No, I mean, I'm glad that you talked me into getting a pair, and I'm glad that Clark lives not too far from us, so we get the opportunity to go check out the skate his ramp. I mean, obviously a lot of these skate companies are built by skaters for the most part. I think Clark definitely has a different take on it, but I like the direction that he's gone with these factions.
Yeah, and that's the wonderful thing about Clark is he's always open to answering any questions you have. I almost feel like he's going to get annoyed with the amount of questions I ask him. I have questions and I don't ask him because I'm like, I've already bothered him enough.
Right.
There's so much that, and he loves what he does. He loves the skate. He loves chatting to people. He loves promoting his product, and he's very proud of it. And it's clear that it's one of the greatest products I've ever seen. And it's funny because anybody who the first time I ever held the skate, like looked at it, picked it up, held it, the first words out of my mouth were, "Wow, that's really quality." And it's funny because the more videos I watch, it's one of the first things I hear people say is, "Wow, the quality," because it's super high quality.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. If there was one word to describe the skate, it would be quality.
You're definitely getting your money's worth.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
So, awesome.
Sweet.
Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed learning about the Tactical V1. I hope you enjoyed everybody's reviews on the Tactical V1. I think that this skate, obviously I love diversity in skating, and I don't want everybody on the Tactical V1 because, the industry will get drowned out that way, and that's not fun. But I think that if you like a carbon skate, if you're an older blader, let me put it this way: if you're an older blader and you're hitting 40 or in your 30s and you want something to just skate and have fun and skate on, this is the best skate for that, in my opinion. It's even a carbon skate that's got this little cushy pad on the sole plate, so my fat ass is jumping down stairs, obviously not a lot of stairs, but a couple stairs, and my knees don't hurt, my ankles don't hurt, my feet don't hurt. Overall, the skate is treating me well, and I think I'm done. I'm faction from now on. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, please comment, let me know what you think. Share your input on the factions, share your questions. If you have questions about the factions, ask me. I'll answer it if I know the answer, and if I don't know the answer, I'll ask Clark, or you can ask Clark, because I'm sure he's happy to answer. But please, like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Cut.
That was fun.
Cut. It's probably done. I mean, it doesn't feel hot anymore.
You're halfway there. This is cute, right?
It is. I wish I was a little bit tall, though.
You want a pillow?
I need a booster seat.